I wanted to review what the expectations were for the next coming school years with respect to both the standards, curriculum, and then also we'll move into assessment a little bit as well. And so for the 2019-20 school year, only 6th grade will be transitioning over to 2018 standards. 6th through 8th grade now, for the science perspective, is considered a grade band, and there will be a grade band level assessment that will cover grades 6, 7, and 8. And the incoming 6th graders are the ones who will be taking the first full-fledged new assessment as 8th graders. And so we have to start them in the new standards next year in order for them to be ready by the end of 8th grade for that particular assessment. So the new standards do incorporate the phenomenon, the science and engineering practices, and the cross-cutting concepts, so we would start to expect to see that in 6th grade. As far as materials are concerned, my curriculum team is working on that. I had only 2 people who were working all school year on the 6th grade curriculum, and they've been working very hard, but there's only 2 of them, and so it's taken a bit of time in order to get to where we can actually roll some things out for teachers. I do have some more people who have volunteered to work this summer. If you're interested and not on the team, please let me know, because I can accept a few more members. The more people we have working on it, the more quickly we'll be able to roll out information to the 6th grade as a whole. In 7th and 8th grade, you'll be using the 2004 standards, but I do expect to see that you are starting to incorporate phenomenon, the science and engineering practices, and the cross-cutting concepts into your lessons. So you should be looking at it at a lesson level of where can you start to shift your practice to include some of the things that we've worked on in this professional development. Your resources are still going to be the Discovery Tech Book and the Gizmos. They will be for Discovery Tech Book. They will be realigning the Tech Book to our new standards. So when we're ready for full rollout, we'll be able to have that new resource, way the resource is going to be arranged. We will have that new alignment in there. I do want to reiterate that the hard copy textbooks that you might still have in your classroom are for emergency purposes only. They are not for your primary resource and should not be relied upon for your lessons. Those are very outdated, and we need to be using the new resources, which are the Tech Book and the Gizmos. We look at our timeline overall, looking past next year. In 6th grade, next year we will be getting an adoption cycle starting in January of 2020. What happens then is that I start paperwork in the first part of the adoption cycle, and then in the summertime, the team will come together and look at new materials, and I'll be sending out a request for team members for the adoption team. And then we look at the materials in May, we have vendor presentations in June, and then we present our recommendation to the board in September because our materials have to be out for public review for 60 days. And so after that 60-day period, we come back and look at any public feedback, and then we put it out for we put our recommendation forth to the board, hopefully purchasing materials in October and then having them on site in January of 2021. At that time, if there are kits or anything like that the Science Center needs to make ready for distribution to teachers, they have time to do that, and I also have time for professional development before full rollout during the 21-22 school year. For 7th and 8th grade, you'll both be using the 2004 standards again next year. Full implementation being in the 2021 school year. We will be starting an adoption cycle in January 21 for both 7th and 8th grade, and that's because our Discovery and Gizmos were only for 5 years. That's the length of a license that we're allowed to purchase, and so we have to start the process over again. So it'll be the same process as it was for 6th grade, just pushed back by a year. 7th grade does not have a state assessment, and so you don't have to worry about that piece. But 8th grade, for the 2019-20 school year, 8th grade will still give the current Ames assessment to all students. During 2021, the state is asking for a waiver for students so that they don't have to take the current Ames assessment, that they would only give the new state assessment field test. The field test is where they're looking at item types and determining item reliability. If they do not get the waiver, the current thinking is that we'll still have to give the Ames assessment, but they haven't had a whole lot more information than just that coming out. In the 21-22 school year, the new state assessment will be in place, and so the old Ames assessment goes away, and we will only have the new assessment. For the materials and the resources that were linked in this presentation, if you go to the actual PowerPoint, because there is a link to that in here in Canvas as well, all of the things on here are clickable links, and so if there's things that you were interested in looking at that were within this particular presentation, you can find all those links in here. Thank you and have a great day.